corporate international office since its inception since in 2011. Both as a practitioner, both as a faculty member. I presented at the first conference of global higher education here at the Lakeland College last year, when I talked about something similar, that is trends and issues of international higher education. And since then, there have been a lot of things, a lot of developments going on and discussions going on. So I felt that I should follow up on that by updating on the this time on the international education policy in Japan. So here's I'll start with current trends in higher education. I'll cover three phenomena that I can, three of the phenomena I can identify, and then move on to update on higher education policy by looking at MEXT budget that I just distributed to you, as well as other sources to have more grasp of the international policy, IHI policy in general. And then I'll bring up some issues that I need to raise, then conclude with future directions. Okay, let's talk about the current trends in higher education. I can see at least, this is not all, but at least three trends. One, improved student mobility, intense grant allocations, like top global university grant and other, global 30 grants as well. And also, I can see accelerated implementation for the past year or so, one after another, such as approval of joint degree programs and other developments as well, which I'm going to talk to a little more later on. So, like I said, improved student mobility. You can see until recently, both figures for both inbound and outbound numbers had been dropping, and outbound since 2011 when the Great Eastern Earthquake hit, and inbound and outbound since 2004 when it hits peak. But the latest figures show improvement for both directions, inbound, outbound, and inbound for example, 2014. That's the latest that I got from the MEXT report, and also 2012. Also, outbound numbers started going up. That's one trend I can notice. So as many professionals. And also, I can see there have been major project grants have been allocated in recent years, especially since 2009. For example, in 2009, so here's the number of institutions or number of programs that have been awarded during that period, 2009 and 2014. I'm trying to recover from my right cold. All right, so in 2009, Global 30 was launched when 30 institutions, as you know, was awarded 2009 through 2013, and followed by Reinventing Japan project, which is focused on partnership expansion, more regional specific grants, and also Global 30 Plus in Global 30 Plus or project for the promotion of global human resource development in 2012 for 5 years. Actually, more specific, for 4.5 years, 42 institutions received that grant, and then, as you know, top grant, university grant, in which 37 higher education institutions received the grant. And although number have been increasing since, but it's not kind of it's kind of staying in the same level, but the actual amount increased, actually. Actually, one of the scholars, Yoshida-san, did some research that, but despite this increased funding, the total number of recipients during this period is limited only to 64 institutions when there are close to 800 institutions. As you can see on the back side of your handout, there's a table that shows the current figure, number of institutions and all their enrollments. There's a small table there, right? The total number is on your lower right-hand side. Did you mind? Oh, I'm sorry, on the top side. top page. On the lower left-hand side, lower right-hand side. So that's the second trend that I can identify out of the many other. Also, I can identify accelerated implementation. As you can see, there are a lot of things going on since 2013 when the implementation invigorating education was launched, and also followed by that, Japan revitalization strategy was released. So, basically, international higher education was spun out of that strategy, basically, and subdivided into kind of university reform and producing global jinzai. More like I should say, global jinzai is producing global jinzai goes hand in hand with university reform. And let's see. Also, like I mentioned, November 2014, that's a big step. The government decided to go ahead with launching joint degree programs. Double degree we've had previously, but they added joint degree programs for institutions. But the thing is, it will take probably, it should be very time consuming. Also require each institution to set up a new department to start with, so it's going to take probably a long time. But also you even need partner institutions as well. So this is how how the implementation of policy has been goes quickly. Right? It's been going quickly. Okay, let's look at the update on higher education policy. I'll start with the two dimensions, university reform, producing globally competent individuals, and finally, MEXT'S 2015 budget. What I mean by two dimensions are to understand, to have a good grasp of higher education, international higher education policy. I want to use this concept. The two dimensions refer to, invigorating education side and also revitalizing economy side. And so everything is based on education, of course, but also concurrently the nation is trying to revitalize the economy as well, under which the nation set up the university reform and concurrently jinzai, producing globally competent individuals. So let's take a look at first university reform. This is what I'm talking about. University reform. First, governance reform. So to give more authority, kind of full authority to the president of the universities, which is resisted, has been resisted by many faculty members, and also articulation reform, which is fourfold. One is institutional admission reform, and developing two types of scholastic aptitude tests that would meet the current needs of learners. And number three, education reform at high school level, and also education reform at tertiary level as well. So those are the four components, elements of the education reform. And also national university reform as well. And so the government been trying to proceed with university reform, revolving around national universities, which MEXT directly control, not control, but MEXT'S have directly under. And produce, of course, producing university reform includes also producing globally competent individuals and reform of assessment measure for quality assurance. There's probably not reliable enough measure has been found yet, has yet to be developed. And also, government wants have at least 10 universities, as you know, placed among top 100 universities, 10 Japanese universities among top 100 universities in 10 years. So those are the those are the component elements of university reform. That's one. But the other one is producing global jinzai, and more like jinzai or human resource that can respond to the current globalization, which consists of doubling student mobility, as you know, by 2020. Inbound, the inbound target is 300,000, and outbound 120,000. And partnership in certain regions. So the government has a strong interest in certain regions by creating new agreements with those countries, institutional agreements at the tertiary level. Also invigorating partnership relations with countries like the United States, where the number of domestic students studying abroad, studying there, has been decreasing greatly. And also joint international programs, including joint degree programs, and also double degree programs and other program options as well, to produce, eventually produce global jinzai to send out to society. And also international baccalaureate schools, increase that number of that count. The time when this was made was the number of IB schools was only 16. The government wants that to rise to 200 in a few years. And also super global high schools, they designated super global high schools. That's part of an articulation, effort between secondary and upper secondary and tertiary education. And strengthening EFL education. Again, early English language study in primary education, and also teacher training as well. So they want all Japanese teachers to have at least TOEFL score, for example, 80. For TOEFL IBT 80 or other comparable levels. And supporting lifelong learning for adults as well. So clearly, the declining birth rate and shrinking pool of 18-year-olds. So we're going to have to take in more adult students into higher education. Help them go back to school to pursue their master's degree or doctoral degrees to maintain the status quo and further develop higher education in Japan. And wider use of the TOEFL test, for example, for the purpose of entrance exam, for admitting students, or for other official tests to hire bureaucrats in Japan. So those are the. Okay, so let's take a look at the next page. This actually clear. This reflects where our international higher education policy is located. This is, and first of all, there's a backbone goal of this whole thing is, if you look at the budget, there are a few statements. One of them is goal. It says producing globally competent individuals taking a leap into the future, under which there are two separate objectives, specific goals. internationalization of higher education for producing globally competent individuals and strengthening global competitiveness of tertiary education. So the total amount of the figure is, as you can see at the top, 1兆7887億円 or 14.4 billion. Oh, I see. It's gotta go fast. And like that. And one of the objectives is international. I explained that. Let's move on. So if you look at this, your handout it says clearly in detail. So if you how the budget is used for each objective clearly. The total budget is 463 億円 for international higher education. Actually, this one. 3.2 million, excuse me, $3 million US dollars or 463 億円. Okay, issues remains fund allocations. Of course, fund have not, like I said, only 64 institutions have been awarded major grants. But look, but there are many other institutions that would probably want that support. Fund allocation is a kind of big problem. Also, diversity. So there are still low, non-Japanese faculty ratio, also international student ratio as well. That's another problem. So we need to really, open up doors. Higher education institutions in Japan need to open up doors to the world. That's really a must to proceed with further internationalization, globalization. And the reciprocity also, we've had some difficulties. For example, signing student exchange agreements with popular study abroad destinations, like including ones in English-speaking countries. And we need to be more innovative creating kind of attractive programs for those partner institutions that are not as interested in partnering with Japanese institutions. And capacity, of course, we need more housing to accommodate international students, to double the number, or to increase the number in larger numbers in the future, in a few years. Also, curriculum compatibility is another issue, like academic calendar. There's been discrepancies in academic calendar and other areas of the curriculum in Japanese higher education. So that's something that remains. So again, future directions seems is just mobility, more innovative ideas to go forward, and also. But good news is we can use joint program options in the future. So it may take time, and capacity, diversity, of course, and also teaching and learning. So the question is, can higher education institutions in Japan deliver courses and programs in an educationally rewarding and culturally sensitive manner across cultures, across borders? That's a big question for the benefit of not just domestic students, but international students as well. And like by incorporating English medium instruction into the mainstream, and in a way that will be compatible with local language Japanese. So that's something that we need to have to do something with. Okay. References. Its references also on the handout as well, so you can refer to.